Volume of a cone. To find the volume of a cone, we're going to use the formula. Volume is 1/3 the area of the base. Remember, area of base is always in a capital B, times height. If we think about a cone looks like this. And the height goes directly from the middle of the base all the way up to the top. We're not using the slant height, we're using the height from the center of the base all the way to the top. Now, I'll label that for H. If volume of a cone is 1/3 the area of the base times the height, we need to know how to find the area of the base. If I look at a cone, I can see that the shape of the base is a circle. And just like in the cylinder formula, to find the area of a circle, we do pi r squared. So volume is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. Let's practice using this formula to find the volume of a cone. Let's draw a cone for our first example. And let's say that this cone has a radius of 2 and a height of 6. Now I should give these labels. It's really tough for me to put an M in there, but I'll squeeze it in. These will be labeled in meters. As always, our first step is going to be to write down the formula. I know we have it written up here, but we want to write it down again so we can substitute into the formula all of our known variables. So volume is 1/3 times pi times r squared times height. I don't tend to put in a multiplication symbol because I don't want to get confused with decimals. But if you're more comfortable having a little multiplication sign in there, you can do that. Now let's go ahead and fill in everything we know. I don't know the volume. I'm going to keep this 1/3. Pi is 3.14. See how this now starts to look a little bit like a decimal? You can always put them in parentheses as well. My radius is 2. I mean 2 squared times the height, which is 6. I have a lot to do on the right-hand side of this equation. I'm going to start by simplifying a little bit. Volume is 1/3. I'm going to do my squaring first because I know 2 squared is 4. On this side of the equation, I have a lot of multiplication to do. Doesn't matter which order I do it in, so I'm just going to start with 3.14 times 4 times 6. And I'm going to put that all right into my calculator. 3.14 times 4 times 6. And I get 75.36. My volume is 1/3 times 75.36. Now, remember, multiplying by 1/3 is exactly the same as dividing by 3. And I'll show you that that's true on this side piece of paper. 1/3 times 75.36. Every whole number is really over 1. So you can see that I multiply the top by 1 and then divide by 3. So really, multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this number and I'm going to multiply by 1/3 or divide by 3. Now remember, volume is always in units cubed. I can see that my units that I used were meters. So these are going to be cubic meters. Now that we know the formula to find the volume of a cone, we can use that formula to find either the height or the radius as well. In this next example, you can see I'm going to find the height of this cone. This cone that I've drawn has a radius of 9 centimeters, halfway across the base of that circle, 9 centimeters, and it has a volume of 956 cubic centimeters. As always, the first thing I want to do is write down the formula for volume of a cone. Volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times height. 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times height. Go ahead and substitute what you know. The volume of this cone is 956. On the right-hand side is 1/3 times pi. Pi, we're going to use 3.14, times the radius squared. The radius in this case is 9, times the height. And the height in this situation is unknown. So now we're going back to solving equations. The goal is to get this h by itself. I can see that h is being multiplied by 9 squared, by 3.14, and by 1/3. So I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I have 1/3 times pi times 9 squared. 9 squared is 81. I'm going to put this into my calculator because that's not something I know off the top of my head. .14 times 81. 254.34 times 8. Now h is being multiplied by 254.34 and 1/3. Now remember, multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 254.34 divided by 3. And I get 84.78. And that's being multiplied by the height. Notice I keep bringing everything back down in my equation, keeping it on the side of the equation that it belongs. Now my goal is to get h by itself. H is being multiplied by 84.78. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. And I'll be left with h on this side. $11.27. Now don't forget, every time we have an answer, we need to give it a label. In this situation, I have my height is in centimeters, my radius is in centimeters, my volume is in centimeters cubed. Height is not something that we I wouldn't say that I'm 5 feet 5 inches cubed. I wouldn't say I'm 5 feet 5 inches squared. I'm just 5 feet 5 inches. This would be 11.27 centimeters. Sometimes your book will ask you to round to the nearest tenth, so let's go ahead and practice that. If I were to round this height to the nearest tenth is one place past the decimal point, I have to look at this 7 and decide, is that 7 going to make this round up to a 3 or stay a 2? And it actually would make it round up to a 3. So rounded to the nearest tenth, this would be 11.3 centimeters.